So yeah, we have the Samsung Galaxy A36. I believe the first proper Snapdragon powered A series device since the A73. Let's talk about it. It's been over 4 months since the Galaxy A36 was released, so this is pretty much a long-term review. Although I won't say I've been using it consistently through this period of 4 months, it's pretty much been on and off. But if you are picking up or considering picking up the A36 right now, this review should help you get an idea of what to expect. It is up to date on all the software. I mean, I got it when it first launched, I just didn't have enough time to review it. But for a period, I actually used it, I think for 2 weeks consistently. And recently also decided to power it on and use it so that I can give you a long-term review. But let's get into the details. So, Snapdragon. Since the Galaxy A73, if you were keeping track, we've not really seen Samsung use a proper Snapdragon processor on an A series device. They've mostly restricted it to the flagships. You might argue we saw Snapdragon 680 with the A05s, but the A05s is a low-tier A series device. It doesn't really even count as mid-range. The fact that they have not been using Snapdragon is actually understandable. Most manufacturers have been going MediaTek because of the cost, I guess, of Snapdragon chipsets. But we're not here to discuss Snapdragon, MediaTek, whatever. We're here to talk about what the A36 has to offer. For the highlights, yeah, for the Snapdragon fans, Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, and then it's an overall improved device, I guess slightly over the A35. It's lighter, it looks sleek, and then I guess software, One UI, 6 years of software updates, and all the perks that comes with using a Samsung phone. In this video, I'm going to compare it to the Galaxy A55 because I've gotten questions a lot whether someone should pick up this over this. And I'm also going to reference the A56. I mean, they look alike, but you get that information from this video. So right now, you should be able to find the A36 for just over $300. Even on Amazon, you'll find deals under $300. In Nigeria, the base version goes for about 479,000 in Naira. In this region, we get two memory options, 6 or 8 gigs of RAM and 128 or 256 gigs of storage. The one I have here is the 6 gig version. As we are already used to, there is no excitement when it comes to unboxing of Samsung phones. You get the phone, you get the USB cable, and that's pretty much it. One interesting feature the A36 has, which we didn't get with the A35 in this region, is eSIM support. So you can use eSIM on the Galaxy A36. So the A36 follows the same design pattern as we saw with the A56 and I guess the A26. That's the design language Samsung is going for now. They're leaving this old design of the, I guess we can now call this old. Techno picked up here, they left off, I guess, if you've seen the Spark 40 Pro. But yeah, the design is good. It looks premium, like your premium Samsung A series phone. Not quite the same build materials as the A56, which has aluminum on the frame, but it has the same Victus Plus on the display and the rear. So it's pretty much the toughest in terms of glass quality on the back and the front on any mid-range phone you can find. It's well built. It feels nice. You know that feeling with Samsung phones if you've used one before. It's a nice device to hold. The design doesn't look hideous. It doesn't look outrageous. They are not trying to do anything extravagant. It just looks good and classy, if you get what I mean. We get that elevated key island for the volume and power buttons, and then also there is no headphone jack. Samsung also decided to take out the SD card slot for reasons best known to them. It has a glossy finish no matter the color option you choose. This one is the, I guess, awesome white, although there is rainbow glow tint to it depending on how light hits it. It looks good, but it's not pure white. Now, for those comparing it to the A56 on build quality and design, they look the same, but on the frame, this has the more premium aluminum finish, while this one has plastic. Same can be said for the A55, while they don't look the same. This has a more premium build too with aluminum finish. Still on build quality, the A36 maintains the ingress protection with an IP67 rating for water and dust resistance. One thing I noticed with the A36 is that the speakers sound really good. It's a stereo speaker setup with the primary speaker at the bottom and the other one, I guess, somewhere around here. But it sounds great even when you are using it at max volume. On the display, it is classic Samsung Super AMOLED 1080p 120Hz refresh rate. It is vibrant and it looks great. Although the bezels are not the slimmest I've seen, especially at this price point, but it looks gorgeous as you'd expect from a Samsung phone. We have the optical fingerprint scanner, which works just fine. Still not the fastest I've seen, but it gets the job done. We also have the always on display, as you can see, although there is some awkward positioning of the items, but we'll talk about that later. It's a tall 6.7-inch display, and if we're talking about visuals or how it looks, it's still one of the best out there. Although not the brightness when it comes to peak brightness, but it gets bright enough and it's okay for outdoor use. The Galaxy A36 has 120Hz refresh rate. Scrolling and animations are smooth when you are not experiencing the occasional lag. You only get two options for the refresh rate in the settings. You either have it at standard 60Hz or you set it to adaptive. The always on display feature on the A36, as I mentioned earlier, has awkward placements of the items. If you notice, it's a bit off center and it doesn't stay in one position, it moves around each time. You will also notice the now bar has similar awkward positioning, not just on the AOD but also on the lock screen. Now for the now bar, this is most likely due to the fact that it uses an optical and fingerprint scanner. You will notice the same thing with the A56. But then the A26 does not have that awkward placement. It's placed in a similar position as you have with the flagships. I'll say this is just one of those things with One UI optimization on Samsung's A series devices. The software is Android 15 and One UI 7, which is one of the best Android skins out there. And when it comes to software support, you're getting best in class with 6 years of upgrades. Even most flagship phones don't get that much. When it comes to the actual user experience with One UI 7 on the Galaxy A36, I'd say it does great. Although when I first started using this phone, it was a bit choppy here and there, but a couple of updates and they have improved the overall user experience. It's still not perfect. You still get the occasional lags that you get with One UI on A series devices, but as long as you're not rightly looking for it and you understand it's a mid-range phone, it will do just fine. Although I can't deny that I've seen snappier phones. But hey, if it's a Samsung you want and you want the One UI experience, you just have to deal with that. It is highly customizable, especially since we now have Good Luck. You can install that from the Samsung Galaxy Store or the Google Play Store. And it gives you a couple of customization options depending on how extensive you like to tweak your device. Multitasking is great, not flawless, but great. You get most of the One UI features except the ones reserved for flagships. Using this device day to day for the average user, say running your favorite apps, going through social media, switching between apps and some multitasking here and there, it will handle itself just fine. The storage and RAM do a good job to give you the good multitasking experience. The occasional lags, you are only going to notice them if you are actively looking for it, or maybe you are coming from a much faster device, or you are using a device that has snappier software. But that is not to say the A36 is not snappy. If you're actively using it, you will not get these lags on the software. It is maybe when you leave it idle for some time, it might take a while to get back up to speed and you'll notice delays switching between apps or launching applications. But for a mid-range phone, it handles just fine. We also have Galaxy AI here, although not on the level of flagships and definitely not on the level of the likes of Techno or Infinix on their mid-range devices. But we get a couple of AI features like circle to search, object eraser, and other features you would find in the advanced section of the settings. Now, how about its overall performance? Talking about that Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 when it comes to using it day to day, battery life, and all that. Now, like I said, since the A73, we've not gotten a proper Snapdragon powered Samsung phone that wasn't flagship, at least one that's globally available. Now the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, as I mentioned earlier, is not significantly different in performance compared to the Exynos 1380 on the predecessor. But hey, it's Snapdragon, at least you'll be getting improved GPU performance, so yay for the gamers. Now when it comes to gaming, the performance is mostly good. Thanks to the Snapdragon, you are going to be getting higher graphics performance on your favorite titles. You only need to worry about heating for some graphics intensive games, but nothing concerning if you have a cooling fan, which you'll normally have if you are seriously into gaming. Call of Duty Mobile plays at ultra frame rates with graphics set to low. Now if you prioritize graphics, you can play at very high settings and max frame rate. PUBG plays at extreme frame rate with the graphics set to HD. It can go as high as Ultra HDR graphics, but the frame rate drops to Ultra. For the battery life, I won't really be able to give you a standard rating of how it has performed over the course of 4 months, but I can't say for certain the period I used it consistently for 2 weeks. The battery life handled pretty well for a day's use. I was getting up to 7 hours of screen on time. It's a 5000 mAh battery and I've had no issues except for the fact that when charging, the phone gets really hot. Whether the phone is off or on, it gets noticeably hot. I'm not sure what is responsible for that. The charging speed supported here is 45 watts, although you are going to need a compatible Samsung charger to achieve that since you don't get one in the box. On cameras, the configuration is a triple combination of a 50 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. The selfie is 12 megapixels. It takes really good photos, and in my opinion, unless you're looking at an older flagship, this easily offers better overall picture quality than most phones around the same price point. Selfies come out great, but you want to stick to ideal lighting conditions. Also, you might want to disable the default beauty filters, unless of course you like the smoothing effects. Its low light performance is also good. I compared it with the Galaxy A55 and A56, so you have an idea of how it fares when compared to those. For those considering whether to get the A36 or the A55, in my opinion, the A55 has the overall better cameras. While the Galaxy A36 does great at shooting 4K 30fps videos from both selfie and rear cameras, you can't record video with the ultra wide camera. You can only do that from the main camera for some reason. So while recording, you can't really switch between lens or even record video from the ultra wide camera. I'll say the Galaxy A36 is improved overall compared to its predecessor. It's slimmer, it offers an improved processor performance even though not by a significant difference. But for those that have always been asking for Snapdragon, I believe this is something they will appreciate. But in terms of overall features, I think the A35 gets the edge because its storage is expandable. So should you upgrade from the A35 to this? I don't think so. You might want to consider something higher like the A56. As for comparing it directly to the A55, as we've seen throughout this video, this has the overall better cameras. It also has the more premium build, and it's an overall better device, a lot closer to the A56. So I wouldn't say they're in the same league. Plus, looking at the processor performance, it's way better than the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 we get here, Exynos 1480. The only advantage I see this having over the A55 is the fact that it will get a couple more software updates. Do I still need to compare it to the A56? Obviously not, for the fact that I'm recommending the A55 over the A36 tells you that the A56 currently sits top of the A series food chain. Now, if I'm to summarize what I think about the A36, especially if you are thinking about getting it right now, I would say first off, like Apple, Samsung is not a brand that is looking to innovate with their devices. They're not looking to put the latest technology. They are just focused more on optimizing performance and I guess giving you the user experience. You're not going to get the snappiest of responses, but as long as you are not prioritizing app launch speeds, you want the overall combined user experience with that software support, the A36 is going to be a solid device. So that's the Galaxy A36, and that's all from me. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.